That's kind of corner of it.
Yep.
There you go. There you go. Now you're out.
Okay. Good evening, folks. Order the work session. January 23rd, 2023. Minister, please call the roll.
Trustee Henry,
Here.
and Trustee Henry by Zoom, and we'll know his address. Trustee Coffey.
Here.
Trustee Evans,
Here.
Trustee Lopez.
Here.
Mayor Williams.
Here.
And I'll note the presence of the other fine gentleman in the room and Fire Chief Secretary.
Council, you want to give trustee Henry's address?
Yeah, you know what, I don't have a.
Okay. Trustee Henry,
Yes, sir.
good evening. Could you give the address for the public, please?
12913 Southwest Vermilion Circle, Port St. Lucie.
Thank you, sir. We're right outside the door. We're all coming in. So.
I have the popcorn on.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thanks for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you.
First item on the agenda is architect review 37 South Mortimer Avenue.
Photos for the social media. You guys have the photos or?
Yes.
Okay, so today we will be installing a seven, well, not today, but we will be installing a 7.6 kilowatt system panels at 37 South Mortimer Ave. There is just one array on the front facing roof as well as on the back. However, there is a substantial amount of tree coverage, so it's not very visible from the point of view from the street. However, during the winter time, we did, I believe, render some images on what it would look like.
Yeah, he didn't have a picture of what it looked like. Yeah. The panels gonna be black or blue? Last meeting, we asked the person to come back because there was no rendering of what it looked like on the house. Okay, you only show on the front one this time, there's nothing on the back. There's no back picture.
Is that not one sent to you?
I don't have it unless anybody else does. I don't. There's two to the front. That's the front. That's the front.
Oh, sorry, okay.
Yes, do you have a map?
Well,
Well, it is because this house is a street higher than the one below it, so everybody below the house is going to see it. And do you have one or not?
No, that's not an area view, right? So you said this house is this, and that people view it from.
Yeah, because of the way that it stands back. I mean, it's no catastrophe, but I mean, next time you should really have both.
We were under the impression that the only part,
No,
the
it's-
only
it's-
houses that are visible are the ones that are relevant.
Right, and you're gonna see the ones from the back. It's, we want to see what they all look like, not what you think it's gonna look like.
Okay, sorry, that was a misunderstanding.
Yeah, that's okay. No, that's what I'm letting you know. Because we have to look at both sides, both pictures, the whole thing, because one side may look nice, the other side may not look nice. Yeah. You guys okay with it? Yes. Whatever you guys want to do.
I mean, we do have the aerial view, would that suffice? Yeah, but again, we just want to see it from the back. I mean, you can still see what it would look like from the aerial view. Okay, help me understand here, what would be the significant difference between seeing it from an aerial view and seeing it directly? from
Because-
the
So
front?
no one's looking at this from above.
Yeah.
However, what we're looking for is the angle of the house in which someone would be able to observe it from behind.
Okay.
So me seeing an aerial view would show me what it would look like. It's not going to show me what I would look like from a street that's facing the back.
Okay,
And, we get this, okay, but this is a magic marker that was just drawn on there. Everybody else brings us an actual computer rendering of the solar panel sitting on top of the roof.
is that listed within the ARB, is that stating that we need to render those?
No, but you gotta make it look like what it's gonna look like. I could have, my daughter could have drawn a magic marker on there and said, this is what it's gonna look like.
Is that a requirement?
Well, yes, because see, this doesn't show the frame around it.
So
I
the
mean,
city
this is
does,
just the black panels.
no, that's perfectly fine, but is this something that has to be enforced, like for us to generate a rendered photo, an image of that? So I mean, like, I'm trying to, in that instance, trying to show you where these panels will be in the map.
No, we get it where they're gonna sit, and that's great. That's not that bad, because we're getting an idea because it's a black panel, but really, that's just a magic marker. I mean, we can go into his office and pull 2 weeks ago out, and the person computer generated an actual solar panel on the roof, so we can look what it's gonna be looking like, not.
Okay, I
Just a
understand
magic
that.
marker.
However, I mean, like, if I had some computer program that I can do that for you.
But
But
the company's been there before, they've all been good.
I'm not, I mean, we haven't done that, I know that for a fact. But my question is that a requirement? Is that something that the
We-
town
yes,
does?
what-
It's a requirement.
Yes.
The second time, it's a
Yeah.
requirement.
Okay,
It's on the application.
You know,
okay,
if
as
you
long
want-
as it's on there, so it says it on the application, it has to be a digitally rendered image.
If you prefer it to be
Well, it
denied,
could be, the board can actually hand draw an image, but not somebody with magic marker, just call it out.
Okay, yeah, just for clarity in that.
Either draw, hand drafted or digital.
Okay, so it has to be graphic, a digital program needs to be graphic.
What we're doing is we're looking at, we're representing all the neighbors in the area now. Okay, we're looking at, say, what is that gonna look like to the neighbors? Okay, aesthetically,
I understand
that's what we're sitting there right now. That's our job. What's it gonna look like when the neighbors see the front of the house and the back of the house? This way, we're gonna say for the whole neighborhood, yes, it's good enough or not.
So if we go back, take the photos, render photos from the back side of the house and the roof is invisible, how is that justifiable in this instance?
Because you have to-
Given how far back you stand, distance, you know.
Is it from somewhere where somebody else, such as the public, would be standing?
It's not, sir.
Is that,
It's
is that?
Yeah, not in his backyard.
Yeah, but
From the lower street, from below, looking.
So from the lower street, if it's not visible, then is it a relevant requirement?
Yes,
Well, show
so
the
it's not your decision to decide.
Yeah, I understand
Let me
that.
finish. It's not your decision to decide what you think people can see or not. That's our decision. If you put the rendering on a roof and we say that it doesn't, no one's gonna see it, our decision to vote yes or no. If you don't provide it, we can't make that decision.
That's very
All right,
arbitrary.
hold on. Come back next week with another rendering.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you.
I'm just saying that these are arbitrary requirements and if they're
No, it's
listed
on
in
the
the-
application.
I know, no, if it says it as a digital, this is a digital or some kind of software developed software to use to render the design, that's completely fine, we'll meet it. by
Were
that.
you in SunPower?
Yeah.
You guys have been here before.
That's what I said, and they've all been very good before.
Okay, no, that's
They've usually
perfectly
given
fine.
us all these things.
No one's ever had to come back a second time for me to come back.
Yeah, no, I'm not aware that we're digitally rendering images in that manner.
Were you involved in the completion of the application, sir?
In this specific one, I'm not the permit coordinator that day, but I'm the project manager that facilitates that operation.
Okay,
And this is not something that I'm familiar with as a requirement.
so I think we're getting bogged down in the, so let's get to the crux of the argument. There are requirements that exist on the application with this completed. The requirements that exist were not met. We are asking for the requirements that exist on the application to be met. There really is no further in between here in regards to what we're talking about.
That's perfectly fine.
I wasn't. So this continuous back and forth that we're engaging on the legitimacy of the requirement or whether or not we think it is arbitrary is absolutely benign in this conversation.
Okay.
It's irrelevant to
if-
what we're discussing. I was not done. The crux of this is the application. There are requirements that were not filled. It's that simple.
My question was simple as well. Is it requirement to have a digitally rendered photo? And the other one was, how are we supposed to know if the back photo?
Well, you already told me, you
Photograph?
already told me that you weren't involved in the application process, so quite clearly.
Okay, yeah, but I'm the project manager of that.
Someone is not relaying information to you.
No, that's completely
That's
fine.
not
I mean, if it's something that's stated in the application.
But we
have
have said
no
that,
issue
you
doing
said that several times. You
Okay.
decided to hear the argument as to whether or not this was arbitrary.
It could have just been said yes, that's one.
You agree?
7 times.
Next is a review the schedule for the handbook. What we're trying to do is have all the board members in person to do it, because it's gonna be hard to do it on Zoom. Trustee Henry, when are you coming back?
I'll be back next Wednesday, the 30th, and leaving again on the 8th of February.
Will you be here on the 21st?
No, I'll be back January 30th until February 8th.
Right, and then any other dates in February coming back or no?
Not right now. I don't have anything scheduled, no.
Later to 6. Southwest? Oh, Southwest, you might still be here. One of the things I looked at when I was going through this, and how I came up with the sections, I actually sat there and I guesstimating, going through them. And if you cut out the, I'm gonna use the term boilerplate, that has to be there. You cut that out. You can probably do this in 2 days. Pretty close. Also, to speed that up, if you had questions beforehand that you could get to me, that, because questions on this, some of this stuff is going to go to me. Some of this stuff is going to go to Labor Council. Some of this is going to go to our consultant. And if you noticed, I haven't had our consultant here because we have only one that we paid for in our thing, only one time. So I was kind of holding him in abeyance if we needed him. Luckily, he's around here a lot because he works also for Westchester County. He does work for them, a couple of places. So under the theory that take out the boilerplate, give me questions beforehand, we probably can knock this out in 2 days. So that would be February 6th and another date to come. So I would say, why don't we start with February 6th? And also we can see what we get done by, on that date. And then go from there.
Why don't we change it slightly? Why don't we have everybody submit questions first and then whenever, but we're all not gonna be here on the sixth.
Oh, I thought, I was talking March 6th,
Oh, you said February sixth,
but you're not gonna be here March 6th? or
February 6th.
Okay, I thought March 6th, never mind. Forget. When you come back?
Well, Trustee Henry's not coming back in February. Will you be back any in March?
I don't know at this time.
Okay, so I'll reverse and let's go with. And maybe the way to do it is if you have a couple, whatever questions you have, if they're general questions that are simple to type in an email or mark up your quote and, with a pen or whatever.
Why don't we do that and then we'll schedule a meeting?
Yeah.
We'll see when we get a little closer to March, maybe Trustee Henry will know when he's coming back.
When do you want to have these questions?
Sooner the better. Because, if there's not a lot, and some of this can just be, okay, we're gonna edit this, we're gonna edit that, or we're gonna explain this or explain that. And see what happens. I mean, I've already read the thing 7 times, doesn't mean I have to read it again. I want to read it another 5 times for each one of them. So what's the difference? And the other thing, I don't remember if I said this at the last meeting, one thing that is missing from the book is the last policy change you made, which was with vehicles, the people. That's not reflected in it. Which was a miscommunication between me and the consultant.
Next item is the VOC agenda. We hosted it on January 19th. The Greenberg assessor come in, she had a bunch of items to brief us on. The fire EMS law doesn't affect the villages because the town already has it. But the law did change that you can go, instead of 5 years of service, 2 years, and you can lower it from the 10% exemption. So the town of Greenberg is keeping it at 5 years, and so are all the villages, and keeping the exemption at 10%. It's still recommended that we all keep the same thing. This way, everybody's got, all the villages in the town will have the same consistency. So as Mr. Mills said, last meeting is nothing to change if we don't change anything. Nothing to do, we don't change anything because it's already in place. So that's something to consider. As we know, the senior citizens and low income minimum was raised to $58,399. That was already done. The new condo law, which is new construction, new condos will be assessed at market value. Before, so it doesn't affect going back any ones that are in place. Greenberg is put in a law for solar panels that are going to be taxed for 50 kilowatts and more for solar panels, which isn't residential. They're going to put a payment in lieu of taxes plan in place. So if we get any solar panels that are bigger than 50 kW, we have to let them know, and they're going to put a special pilot in place for that payment in lieu of taxes. Again, it's not residential.
Unless you got a big house.
Yes, really. So they want the building department to let the assessor know if we have any of those. Yeah. Yeah, they didn't say anything about that. It's just a facility. They're sending out a second notice about the senior exemption. That's got raised. So we don't have to do anything here. The ADUs. Again, a few of the villages have adopted it. A few are still in the process of adopting them. There's a lot of debate going on of what we said that would happen. Maybe when there's parking, some just don't care about the parking. Some are requiring parking on site. So that's debate is going on amongst some of the villages. We're gonna have more information because the mayor of Hastings sits on the committee and in the state, and so she's gonna come back and brief us more on what we're doing on that. As you know, the governor would like to impose, more ruling on that. So the thinking is if we have your law in place, a local law in place, then whatever the state puts down won't affect us. 25-mile-an-hour speed limit. Nobody's changing theirs. A couple of people had 25, Village City Hollow had 25 many years ago. Everybody else is leaving them where they are. We lowered ours to 15 miles an hour in school zones about 15 years ago. So we were ahead of that, which school zones are very big. If you notice all around the south side of both schools and on the north side around Mount Carmel. So there's a lot of area that's already 25. That doesn't count as 9A and 119, those are state roads. Doesn't affect us, but Route 9, there's a group that runs, that's talking about Route 9, just a total picture of Route 9, what's going on, and the bike lanes. And I've reported numerous times that some people want a bike lane running through Sleepy Hollow all the way down to Irvington, and of course, carry down Sleepy Hollow, and everybody's against that because it takes away all the parking in front of businesses. So that's an ongoing debate. The one committee is done, they're starting a new one. But there's a citizens group in Sleepy Hollow and Tarrytown who's doing a lot of talking, and they just wanted to make sure that the village speaks for the village and not the citizens group. So they're meeting on that. Again, about the governor's housing plan. Home rule is very important to us. We're the only state, state in the country that has a very, very strong home rule plan, where the state cannot override a lot of stuff that goes on in municipalities. And everybody, all the municipalities are getting together to remind the governor of that, where she wants to impose a lot of different housing rules in the community, which tried before with the affordable housing. And as you know, Elmsford has more than enough affordable housing according to the criteria by Westchester County. We're always looking to put more in when possible, but they're just making sure that the governor doesn't change the home rule law. Sustainable Westchester, all the communities, the annual meetings coming up, and it was brought up by one of the communities if there were any things to bring up to Sustainable Westchester, and nobody had any issues. They were all happy with what they're doing. The Witches is going to come up later. It's also on the agenda for the zero waste. Westchester County has a zero waste group. So I'm going to cover that at the same time. Number 4 is discuss the zero waste concept. We got an email from our group to adopt a zero waste resolution about getting rid of the bird plant. The group decided not to do that at this time because there is a zero waste group that's put together for the county. The county's going to have a staff member on it, so they're looking more toward the beginning of the waste and not toward the end, because obviously we need the burn plant. It may be outdated, but if you don't, the landfills will be worse than just having the ash go through landfill. So the group said, let's just wait to see how far this goes, and we can always go backwards to do the zero waste resolutions. Food pantries, everybody's food pantries are busy. It's good to see that they're all in there trying to help everybody out. We always do a pothole killer. We always spearheaded that, so Mr. Mills is going again look into the pothole killer. It was suggested that Tarrytown has a hot box, which again produces hot blacktop during the winter. So they said we can use that if we want to, but the pothole killer was a lot better. So we'll look into both and see which is cheaper and easier for us to do, because we don't know how to operate that. I'm sure Brian can figure it out, but we'll talk about that later and see which way we want to go. Diversity training, again, was brought up. That's going to start very soon again. So the people who did not receive the diversity training, everybody in all the villages will be trained on that. And again, it's going to be in person. So they're going to schedule times, a whole bunch of different times, different dates. So this way you can let different people from different departments go to diversity training. The next meeting is going to be in Sleepy Hollow. It's supposed to be in Tarrytown, but they're actually hosting the WRM Way dinner the week before, so they asked to swap, so the next will be in Sleepy Hollow.
Can I point one thing out?
Sure.
On your, I think you had in your package, somebody had this, or no?
Yes.
I just want to point out on the side, it talks about how the VOC started. And if you notice, we started in 2003. Right? And I'm going to say this for a reason. 2003 to is 20 years today. We'll say. During that time, up until the meeting in August, September of 21, I never missed a meeting. Not one meeting. There was only one reason why I missed it. Prior to that, your mayor, our mayor, only missed one meeting. And it was only, and since then, he's only missed one meeting. And there was the reason why he missed that one meeting, and that one meeting was he was getting a stent in his body, put in his heart. And mine was my heart surgery.
See what it does to us?
There's no one close of all the mayors and administrators over 20 years, even close to that. And I want to point that out because it was kind of brought up to me on the side the other night from one of the mayors who's been there the longest, other than us. And I think it's pretty impressive. Thank you.
Thank you.
Administrator, just to make it clear, so your heart surgery was more important.
Yeah.
Want to clear that up.
I thought about it though. Can I go? Should I?
Only Zoom you can talk.
Oh, we would have had from the hospital room, you know that, sure. The next is possible entertaining ATM machine. This came from Charles Bennett, Sergeant Bennett's brother. He has an ATM business. Basically what he would do is he would bring in the ATM machine, bolt it to the ground, pay us 25 cents per transaction. He would charge the extra fee onto it. So whoever was taking the money out wouldn't affect the village. Basically, he put the machine here and he maintains it. Apparently that it can tell him when the money's running low and he can come fill it up automatically. And he maintains the machine physically. And here by the court, so people can pay their fines. So the village didn't have to do anything to it. It's catch-22, kind of before the credit card. And we're taking credit cards to the court, but we don't take them on that side yet. People do. Before the credit cards, we would say, yes, definitely needed, because people will go pay the quote, they don't have the money to stop and run up to the bank, get the money, but now they're paying by credit card, so probably not.
Consider it a hobby. So, like you said, most things are by card.
But if you have a card to take the money in hand, you can pay by credit card. Right? So I mean, really,
The one thing with this that I noticed, so I kind of checked it into it a little bit, the 25 cents I think is low. I asked every place that I go to, because I go to the ATM a lot. It's one place that I go to a lot charges $175. The guy in the store gets $150. So the place, the dude is getting 25 cents because they're also making money off the transaction with the bank. Other place I went to, they're getting paid $1 per transaction. And doing the same thing. There's also mechanisms where you're responsible to do the money, and then you get more transaction, but we don't want that. No way. So that's the one thing I noticed, like the 25 cents is kind of low.
Yeah, but do we really need it though?
Right.
It's,
I mean, do you want to worry about
it said before the credit card would be great, but I
Right.
mean,
it? And there's an ATM at the corner.
yeah, well, that's what they were saying, the court, when the court was in session, it was great if we didn't have the credit cards.
Right.
Because, you know, everybody's going out in the air, but I mean, how many people are gonna go to the ATM and take $3,000 out to pay their taxes?
Well, it's not in that machine.
No, so,
It doesn't hold that much money.
no. You know, you're only talking to dollars.
Well, either place would have a cost to us, because we have to run a phone line to it. And the electric cost, which is probably nothing, but we do have to run a phone line. There are machines today that do Wi-Fi, but I don't know if he has machines that do Wi-Fi.
The cord's gotta be right in that room.
Yeah, which was a lot of room, we got the metal detector and
Which again, if someone is, if the purpose is for it to be utilized by the court, talking about it's a debit card. then just to use the card to pay for it, right, without having to pay for it.
exactly.
It's not their bad, so I just-
They're paying to use the net, but they're not paying twice. I mean, yeah, I mean, like I said, before the credit card, yeah, it was definitely warranted. But people paying, either they're already paying cash now, or they're paying by credit card. Debit card. These guys will probably get played again.
We got a correction on the agenda, real quick.
Close. Michael's up quick.
The minutes, the 4:11, 4:18, and 4:25 were already approved. They were approved at the 11/14/22 meeting. But then I got a question. Also at that meeting, the minutes of 3:21, because I'm going through right now, trying to fix our minute mess, and I'm going crazy, to be honest with you, because I got, you know, meetings I wasn't here, agendas I don't have. And so at that meeting of 11/14/22, the minutes of 3:21/22 and 3:28/22 were pulled, but I don't have down any reason or any proposed corrections.
Well, when we do the corrections, then we'll bring them back.
Okay,
So I'll have to pull out my folder.
okay. I don't even have that it was you. I don't,
It was me.
okay. 'Cause that was November.
Yeah, no, that was March meetings, right?
Yeah, but I mean, that was November.
Oh, I thought you did that already. That's why I didn't say that. I thought you were working on that.
No, I don't have any.
Okay.
things.
I'll pull a folder again and get it.
That's all I had.
Now we can please write the phone.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mayor, should I please go home?
You started a new one, right? Huh? It needs to be a different meeting, because it's a work session, it's a board meeting, so it's different minutes, it's different everything.
So stop it.